But moving on, despite a 45% fall in profits in the fourth quarter, Vedanta's performance has turned out above street expectations. In fact, the slip in terms of profitability is on the back of a one-time reversal in terms of an impairment gain was concerned. If you talk about their capex as well, they have a plan of almost around $1.4 billion, and this is for FY20 as a year. And clearly, overall, if you go to see in terms of the metal space from a sentimental perspective, also isn't focused on the back of the US-China trade talks. In fact, let's hear out what the management also had to say at the conference call.
The commodity prices saw a downward trend in the first half of last year, reflecting concerns around global growth, especially due to trade tensions between US and China, but we saw a rebound in the first calendar quarter of 2019. The rebound and the increase therein reflected supply concerns, progress in trade negotiations between US and China, and the fiscal stimulus in China. We expect the prices to remain volatile, but with an upside potential from the possibility of tighter than expected environmental policies, slower than expected easing of commodity-specific supply bottlenecks. The medium-term brownfields opportunities in our business are as follows. If you look at Hindustan Zinc, we are expanding to reach target capacity of 1.2 million tons per annum this year, moving to 1.35 million tons in the next phase and eventually to 1.5 million tons. With Zinc International at Harmsburg, we target to achieve 250,000 tons capacity in the first phase, moving up to 450 in the second phase, and then eventually to 650. Growth projects in oil and gas continue to progress well to enhance the production volumes in pursuit of our vision to contribute around 50% of India's crude oil production. In aluminium, the ramp-up of our last line in Jharsuguda to take to production capacity to 2.3 million tons is in progress, supported by ramp-up of captive alumina production, and that eventually wraps up to 2.7 and then 4, with the final objective of 3 million tons integrated aluminium production for the business. On steel, we are aiming to achieve hot metal production of 1.5 million tons this year, rising to around 2.5 to 3 million tons per annum. At Sterlite Copper, we continue to engage with the government, the relevant authorities, the courts, and all stakeholders to enable a safe and supported restart of our operations at Tuticorin.
We believe we are geared up to a strong volume growth and a competitive cost position looking ahead in FY20. Depreciation charge below EBITDA for Q4 and also full year was driven by growth capex, and yes, higher this year thanks to the impairment reversal which happened at the end of last year in the oil and gas business. For FY20, I see that continuing in the same run rate as the Q4, probably slightly elevated levels as we keep capitalizing more and more of the growth spends. In FY20, the average cost of the debt book will continue to be around 8.2 to 8.5%, depending on where the yield curve is. Objective will be to absolutely reduce the debt number as well, the already low debt number. All the projects have hurdle rates of 15-20%, and next year the number is about $1.4 billion. That's the capex that we are guiding.
Right, so that's the Group CFO at Vedanta giving us his outlook as well with regards to where the quarter goes. 2.5% lower is Vedanta's trading at. Let's pull up the other metal counters as well. Hindalco, Tata Steel, JSW Steel, SAIL. These are in focus as well. In fact, overall, you are seeing cuts coming in, at least in terms of where Hindalco is concerned, which is down almost around 1.5% in trade. Tata Steel seeing cuts of almost 1%. JSW Steel, however, is one of the top gainers in terms of Nifty 50, seeing gains of almost 0.5%. But the sentiment overall with regards to where the metal pack is concerned is pretty much weak right now. But let's quickly slip into a short break. On the other side, we will be joined by Ashok Goel, Chairman and Managing Director at SL Propack, with a brief about their Q4 as well as how the outlook is looking like going ahead. Please stay tuned.